let us all do we can to build a better future.
All right, we're gonna move on now to our next story. So, you guys are awesome. All right, let's move on now to a more serious story, and this is something that should upset everyone because Councilwoman Kshama Sawant is right now in the fight for her seat, and again, it's not good that the Washington State Supreme Court is set to recall Kshama Sawant. So now there's a video of her. It's about 2 minutes. Let's go ahead and play it in its full entirety. And this has to deal with the fight for her political seat and what's happening there.
Has unanimously approved the recall against Seattle's only elected socialist because we held a masked 1-hour Black Lives Matter rally in an empty city hall. The Supreme Court's real reason for siding with the recall is highly political. It is an attack on our office for unambiguously standing with the Black Lives Matter movement. The stunning irony is that I was one of the hundreds who was tear-gassed by Durkin's police. The Supreme Court has thrown out a whole series of recall cases for establishment politicians, including the COVID safety-denying sheriff of Thurston County, John Snaza. Sheriff Snaza refused to require his police officers to wear masks in the midst of this historic pandemic, putting ordinary people in even greater danger than usual at the hands of the police. The hypocrisy is on every level breathtaking. This recall ruling against our Socialist Council office could not be more political. It's a blatant attack on working people, social movements, and ultimately on the right to protest. This ruling criminalizes protest and sets an extremely dangerous precedent. The third charge, of course, was about my support for the Tax Amazon movement. This charge is beyond farcical. I am accused of spending public resources on the issue of taxing Amazon and big business because months later it became a possible ballot initiative issue. In other words, I am accused of using public resources on a non-existing ballot initiative and ultimately an initiative that never even went on the ballot. This is another dangerous precedent. How can working class elected representatives use their office to organize on progressive issues? Any progressive issue may sometime in the future result in a ballot initiative. We cannot make sense of this twisted logic without recognizing that the real intent of such ludicrous charges is to have a chilling effect. If working people and movements dare to have our own elected positions that organize for our interests, the ruling class will ruthlessly retaliate. It is appropriate this ruling came out yesterday on April Fool's Day because this ruling makes a mockery of any kind of justice.
Okay, so we have talked about this. Daniel has covered this story about what's happening in Washington State in regards towards Kshama Sawant's election. I have covered this story, and I want to be very clear. No one should be surprised by the amount of pushback Kshama Sawant is getting from the state of Washington, from both the Democratic and Republican Party, and I'm going to explain why. She is part of a group called Socialist Alternative. Socialist Alternative is a political organization. It's not a political party, but it's the first time ever something outside of the Washington State Democrat Party and Washington State Republican Party. It's the first time we ever see somebody actually get a seat of power that's not part of that two-party system. Not to mention, Amazon has a huge stranglehold over those two parties, the Democrats in Washington State as well as the Republicans in Washington State. Amazon, during the last election for the councilwoman's seat, it was a very close race. There was a lot of concern about the security of the ballots. And not to mention, Amazon spent millions of dollars on that election. And again, it's a council seat. It's a city council seat. Nothing at the state level, nothing at the federal level, but Amazon was willing to back up one of their candidates that was trying to replace Kshama Sawant. And they spent millions of dollars on it. And now this is just another opportunity for the state of Washington to try and remove Kshama Sawant because they see her as a political threat to the two-party system. And Amazon also sees her as a threat because she's been the only real politician to really stand up to Amazon as a whole over that entire state. Daniel.
Yeah, it'd be really nice if we can get her on the show again to talk more about this.
I just want to let everyone know that I did send an email out to her office. I know that the Convo Couch, I think, is trying to have her on their show. I think they had her on their show or something like that. Please, someone.
If you guys want to tweet out, get us a little more momentum, that'd be great. It'd be great to talk to her. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Kit completely on this. This is happening. in a sense, like, this is what we want AOC to be dealing with.
Yeah.
This is what we originally wanted AOC to be dealing with. It's Kshama's doing stuff that's good for progressive causes, but not good for the established order. And it's very obvious, and they very much attack her for doing it. But here's the thing, because I want to call it AOC, because we were talking earlier about that. How is it that Kshama Sawant has made so much progress on city council seats in a city that's large, but I don't think it's over 1 million people, yet AOC has a voting district in a major city and doesn't want to get anything done? This is why AOC is where she is, and this is why there's a recall against Kshama. I think that I agree with her that if there is precedent that other people have done this, it seems weird that in all things that have happened in the country, that the Supreme Court's like, yes, she had people in a room. That's bad. Recall her. That seems very flimsy to me, given what most politicians get out of. But, again, if you look at this from the point of politics in America, open a door. Now, what I would love to see is two things. One is somehow they either appeal this and they win the appeal, or the recall gets trounced.
I want to have Kshama Sawant on our show so that she can explain the amount of challenges that she's dealing with from the Washington State Supreme Court. Again, this is the Washington State Supreme Court, not Washington, D.C., Washington State Supreme Court. And I want her to at least explain what's happening with the amount of pushback that her, as well as Social's Alternative, is getting. Because, look, this is what it looks like. This is what a real fight looks like when you stand for your policies, when you stand for your points of view, when you stand for your principles. This is the kind of pushback you're going to get back. So to the 15 congressmen and women that were on the Force the Vote petition, people want to see you do this. Yeah. People want to see that fight, not you being safe or saying, well, we gotta plan things out. Enough of that. And let's compare and contrast this and again, I know they're two different things. I'm prepared for people to say, well, they're two different things. But look at how fast this recall was done for Kshama Sawant, and look at how ridiculous and inept the Trump impeachment was. Yeah. We compare and contrast these two. One went lightning fast, and the Supreme Court, at least with the Washington State Supreme Court, at least for talking about Washington State, they really were on the ball on this one. But at least in Washington, D.C., when it came for the impeachment of Donald Trump, there was so much inept leadership from the Democrats, inconsistency from the Republicans, and then nothing happened with both impeachments. I mean, it's just very interesting. And this is what it looks like when you are outside of the two-party system, which is why I'm in favor for direct democracy, ranked choice voting, and third parties. We need to have that.
And here's the other thing, because I really think that we need to connect what she's doing, because it's like she's doing the right thing. She's making the right enemies. She's fighting for the people. That's exactly what we wished all these progressives, so-called, were going to be doing in Congress. Here's the thing that's really weird that I don't think they understand, that Kshama does. The more you make an enemy of the status quo, and the more you actually get things done for your constituency, the more they love you. Those things add together. They don't subtract. Yeah. I feel like all the people in the squad, like just from the bits I've heard from people behind the scenes, it's like they're terrified to do anything. And they don't understand that terrified to do anything doesn't make them safer. It makes them more vulnerable in the long term, because then there's less that they can say of, what did you do for me? I was scared and I didn't act and I did what I was told. What they want, I think people would rather hear than that is, I really tried to fight for you. I put myself on the line, and I'm going to keep doing that because I'm here to do what you need. So when we talk about minimum wage, why is AOC and the squad not using their immense social media power? It's like
AOC's got like 10 million alone.
They act like, we can't. We don't want to annoy. They're good. Nancy's a friend of mine. Oh, don't. Do what Follow Kshama is doing.
Yeah.
Fight for your base. Fight for what you believe in, what you said you were going to do. Know that you can't really make allies with these people. You can work with them on certain issues.
Yeah, we get it.
But you're really in another, you're supposed to be in a separate party, even though you're within it. Kshama has fought. She's gotten concessions from Amazon. Something that senators couldn't do, she did on the city council.
Yeah.
Why can we not have fighters like that?
Yeah. I think the only senator that kind of even has Amazon shaking in their boots is Bernie to some extent. But look, I said this before in the show, Bernie Sanders will not be around forever. And look, I'm very critical of how he's been acting or how he ran both his campaigns. But AOC and to the other 15 congressmen and women that were on the Force to Vote petition. And again, if you check out Find the Force to Vote petition, you'll find out who these congressmen and women are. People needed them for that Force to Vote Medicare for All town hall. Batters up, you're going to be next, because if you're not going to fight for us, why do we need to stand beside you? You can't play nice with Nancy or Chucky Boy or Biden. It's a fool's errand.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we want you to fight, and this is what it looks like. You will be at risk of being recalled. You'll be at risk of being deemed public enemy number one by corporate media. You'll lose access to being on the cover of Vanity Fair, because I don't think Kshama Sawant's on the cover of Vanity Fair.
And even with what we're doing,
else,
we're always at threat on YouTube of them doing stuff against us. And we live with that threat hanging over our head every single day. But we would rather have that threat over our head than to just say Biden's great and the cages aren't so bad and everyone don't worry. That's a worse outcome.
Fuss. I also want to acknowledge a Rockfin Streamlab chat. Can we pull it up real quick? So shout out to our viewers on Rockfin. Jean Francos Brery states she was on Convo Couch earlier today, and that's fantastic. We invite Kshama Sawant. I sent an email out to one of her staff members, but we would like to have Kshama Sawant on our show next week as soon as possible to set it up.
It's our thing is that we're helping non-corrupt people get their voice out, so she needs to come on.
Yeah, and to Socialist Alternative, now's the time to kick the revolution into overdrive. Now it's time to run for more people for seats of power, because if they're afraid of Kshama Sawant, I can imagine if Socialist Alternative, at least in Washington State, if they were able to get, more city council seats, maybe the mayoral seat in Seattle, dare I say it, maybe get some House seats, some state Senate seats. It's worth a gamble at this point, because this is what it's going to look like. Everyone that's watching this right now, if you want to fight for a better future, it's going to get rough and ugly. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. Maybe there's a chance where she does get removed from office. I hate saying that.
Will you do a pizza bet on her getting removed from office?
No, I will not. But the thing is, this is what happens. This is what happens when you do stand up against the system. And the system will try and reject you out. And if that's the case, that's more evidence. Here's the thing. If that's the case, if that scenario does happen, that's more of a case for all of us to push back even harder, because the system was scared not of a U.S. House representative, not of a U.S. senator, not of a U.S. president, not of a governor, not of a mayor, but the system was scared of a councilwoman.
Yeah.
A city level seat.
Yeah.
And so I will not put a pizza bet on it on regards to whether she gets removed from office. But there is a likely scenario that happens, and that should not demoralize anyone. That should give you more fuel, because the system is scared that one person, not at the federal level or state level, but at a city level, can shake the system. And that means you have what it takes to fight for that better future too.